Hello friends, and welcome to video 6 of our FastAPI tutorial. In this video we are going to cover path parameters and numeric validations. This is going to be fairly similar to the query parameters and string validations that we did before, so this is going to be a much shorter video, I think, but it's still worth getting into. You can see here I've got my app running down below. I've got the Swagger documentation open to the right, so let's go ahead and start setting up a path operation. Okay, so let's set up a GET request, app.get. We'll say items, and I'm going to call this validation item ID. And I'm setting it up this way because we already have an items/item ID right over here, and I don't want to redeclare it. So let's set up the path operation function, async def item, let's say read items validation. So first thing we're going to set up is our path parameter. That's the item ID that we have down here. So let's do item ID is an integer. And let's say we want to have a query, string or none equals query. We'll say none is the default. Title equals, let's say alias equals item query. And we will set results equals item ID. If Q results update Q return results. Okay, this is all stuff that we've seen before. Now, if we want to add in some validation, there's a way that we can do it in a very similar way to how we did with the query string validation. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to set this as just nothing right now. It's a required parameter. We don't want to set a default for this because it's an item ID. That's weird to have a default for an item ID. Let's set the title equals the ID of the item to get. Okay. Now, this is obviously not going to work because this is just some weird tuple. It's nothing. It has nothing to do with, this integer that we're declaring here. But in a similar way to how we declared this query parameter, we are going to declare this using the path object that we will then also need to import from FastAPI. Now if we go back down, we save, it reformats the code, and let's refresh the page. We have this right down here, items validation. And here we can say the item is 1, 2, 3. Query string or item query is hello. And if we were to go and run this in a separate browser tab, there we go. You can see we get exactly the same thing. Okay, it's as we expected. And notice we have this item-query. That's because we're setting the alias to item query here, so we can no longer pass in this Q value. Okay, great, good. Now, let's assume, though, that we want the query to be a string. We want it to be required, so this will go away. And we don't really care about any of this other stuff. We just want this to be a string. It's a required string. That's all we want. Now, this is going to yell at us because for those of you who know Python relatively well, you'll know that we can't declare a non-default parameter after a default parameter. This, even though we're saying this doesn't have a default, by declaring this with this equals right here, from a Python perspective, it is declaring a default value for this item ID. So what we need to do in this situation is we need to put this up above. And if we recall, it doesn't really matter in which order we're declaring these items in here. Oh, that's right. It's renamed Q. There we go. It doesn't really matter in which order it's showing up in the arguments here. So we can just put the query string showing up before the item ID. Let's assume, though, that you want to leave it in a certain order. For whatever reason you want. You want to leave it with the path parameters first, any query strings second. So what we can do is we can actually add in the asterisk as our first argument. What this will do then is this will say that all of these values afterwards are keyword arguments, or quargs. Even if they don't have a default value, this will say, hey, this Q here is a keyword argument, so it should go after these arguments, and it can go after this item ID parameter. Okay, so this, if we refresh the page, will still work. Everything is still good. Let's go back here. Refresh this. Perfect. Now we know that we can see that this is a required parameter, as we were hoping for. Okay, now let's add in a little bit of validation. If you recall, before we had the query string had a min and max length that we were setting. Well, we can do something very, very similar for our numeric types. So we can go in here and let's set, we want this to be greater than or equal to 10 for some strange reason. Maybe, you know, v1 of our API had items with IDs 0 through 9, so we want this to be greater than or equal to number 10. So we refresh the page, and we can see here we have a minimum of 10. So we try it out, and we put in 1. This should not work. Oh yeah, and we need this to be a required, you know what, I'm going to set a default on this because I don't want to have to type it in after every time. Let's just say hello. I don't want to have to type it each time I refresh the page. There. So we will set a 1 here, and that's still not going to work. If we go into here and we pass this in, we see that ensure this value is greater than or equal to 10. Okay, as we anticipate. Now, there's something I think that's a little weird that happens. Let's make this a greater than, and let's make this less than or equal to 100. So it has to be between 10 and 100 with the 100 inclusive. So what's going on here, we can see we have a maximum of 100, but the minimum is gone. And I don't know why this is happening with the Swagger documentation. If we go into here and we try this out, and we try, say, 15, we get exactly what we anticipate we would get. If we try 10, though, so remember, now it's greater than just 10. It's not greater than or equal to, so this should break. This should not work. And it won't, but it's kind of weird. So it allowed us to send it, and this is just a little bug, I think, that's going on with the Swagger documentation. It allowed us to send the request in Swagger, but we got the response that we would expect if we were sending it in something like this, that it ensure this value is greater than 10. So, you know, I don't know why it's not working in Swagger, but we can see it, you know, it's actually working when we do submit the request. This validation here is tracking. One other thing, we can add in this numeric validation for floats as well. So let's say size float equals query. Let's say we want to make this a query parameter. Greater than equals 0, less than equals 7.75. And we will, what do we want to do with this? Let's just say size. It will return that. Now we refresh the page. We can see here, we get, these are required. Let's make this 50. We're good there. Still not good here. Let's make this -5. We're getting ensure this value is greater than 0 for the size query parameter. We make this 0. It should still break. And you notice it's not actually showing any values here. You can see we have the 0 and 7.75. This is showing a maximum of 100. This is just the way it's working right now. If we were to add in a 1, it should work. There we go. We get size as 1, 7.76. And let's try 7.75. Let's see just what precision it is. There we go. Interesting. This is just for fun. You don't really have to pay attention to this. There's not really anything else that's going to be going on after this. Okay, so it's still working. 7.7 is less than 7.75, so we are good there. Okay, this was a relatively short video, although I still managed to make it over 10 minutes somehow. In the next video, we are going to talk about multiple parameters, path, query, and body parameters, all in one type of request. So, should be fun. See you there.